zero cars in front of you. There were zero cars in front of you. You were the only
He's still hollering.
vehicle traveling on that road for 500 feet. There were no vehicles in front of you.
Okay.
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
Just write the ticket. Just write the ticket. Let her go.
Okay.
She almost ran me over.
She tried to run me over. Hello, everybody. Good morning. A little bit long time no talk. How are you doing on this? Fine. Oh, thank God it's Friday. TGIF. What's your plans for this weekend, everyone? My plans are sitting on my couch. But honestly, don't feel bad for me. That's my favorite pastime. Oh man. So I'm losing my voice a little bit. I've been working, y'all. I've been working. When I quit my job in Big Law, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make little videos here and there, just gonna do some commentary, just gonna expose some corruption and rest. No, I have been working. So getting back a little bit to our regularly scheduled programming, I do want to introduce a new addition to the background, at least temporarily until I actually need to use it. But I'm saving this for the next time I go to Danbury because I'm going to see if they will sell me the Cardis building for what they paid for it, according to the deed that Janice Geigler sent. Now, just a brief update on that. Some of y'all have been sending me, and thank you. Some of y'all have been forwarding me the emails of the FOIA requests that you're sending to Danbury, and you're asking Jan like some very simple questions like, send me the salaries of the people in the city and stuff like that. She said that the town clerk's office does not have the records for people's salaries. Basically, she's given y'all the same answer that she gave me, that she don't legally have to do stuff. I'm honestly looking forward to the day that I get to celebrate Janice Geigler getting voted out of office because she has no business in that office. But that's really not why we're here today. The reason we're here today, as you could probably tell from the title and the thumbnail, is I'm going to be reacting to a recent video from a channel that I'm certain y'all have heard of. It's called Audit the Audit. Now, Audit the Audit is doing it like nobody else on YouTube. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. He audits First Amendment audits. Now, at this point, his channel has expanded to just auditing police corruption, other types of police brutality. I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube. That's another thing. I feel like we haven't caught up in a while. I'm feeling like I'm going to start a channel on Rumble called like BJ's Controversial Opinions, and it's kind of tongue-in-cheek because a lot of the opinions actually aren't even that controversial, but this app we're on right now, this website we're on right now, has gotten so absolutely out of control with the taking videos down, taking people's whole channels down, making you stop being able to post. And a lot of stuff has been coming out lately about things that we've been lied to about. I'm sure if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, fill in between the lines. But would y'all even watch that? Like if I put all my opinions that this website don't let me say like over there on that channel, I don't know. If y'all would watch it, I'll make it. I still might make it, but I mean, honestly, it's hard to keep up with all these channels as it is. Okay. So let me show y'all Audit the Audit's page and we'll get into this without further ado. What are we, 3 minutes into the recording? So this is what the channel looks like. 2.22 million subscribers. So, his name is John Lang and he's an investigative journalist and creator of Audit the Audit. I did not know. I thought he was like an anonymous person. So cool. John Lang. I'm very impressed with him. I'm very impressed with his legal knowledge. Like the first time I watched this channel, I was like, this has to be a lawyer or a really good paralegal or someone who went to law school or something like that. Because the way he lays out these cases and reacts to them is just honestly very impressive. Like I said, he's doing it like nobody else is doing it. Okay, so this is the video, right, that we're going to be reacting to. And the way I chose this video is I honestly, I can't watch every video that Audit the Audit posts. Y'all know, you see it in the thing down below. My nerves are too bad. Like I get very upset watching the public servants treat we the people like trash, like they are the open air prison guards in the open air prison that we live in. I get very upset. Like I legitimately, like, at least weekly, I cry about it. I mean, I'll admit it. It's very, very upsetting to me to watch people who are supposed to be protecting and serving us, treating us like they are literally prison guards. And I don't even think prisoners should be treated like that. But in particular, when we, the people, haven't done anything wrong and then the cops are treating us bad and then they get away with it and then they have disqualified immunity, it upsets me so much that I cannot dwell on it. I cannot spend a lot of time consuming this type of content. So when I'm looking for videos to react to, just like the most recent one I did where it was like lawyers versus cops, I like to pick stuff that looks like the conclusion has already been reached and it's come out the way that I wanted it to come out. So I'm on Audit the Audit's channel. And the last video, y'all were like, those cases are old. Okay, Dennis and Frank. I never saw it before, so it's new to me. I wanted to do lawyers versus cops and the cops losing. Okay, so this one doesn't look like it's as old. So I wanted to pick one that was a little bit more recent, and I wanted to pick one that looked like the conclusion, the outcome had already been reached, and maybe there was some type of justice some way, somehow. So the second video on the channel, as you can see, the title of it is Cop Gets Fired Immediately After Losing. And then the thumbnail also says Cop Gets Fired Immediately. So I did watch the first like 4 minutes of this video just to kind of get some kind of sense of it. And I have not watched the end of it. And that's how I picked the video. I went on Audit the Audit because I know a lot of y'all watch that channel. I picked the most recent one that looked like the outcome was some type of situation I could actually deal with without getting my nerves out of hand. And wouldn't you know, it's a tyrant from Waterbury, Connecticut. Waterbury, Connecticut, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I had no idea, but as soon as I realized it was Waterbury, Connecticut, I was like, yes, I have to react to this one. So the name of the video is Cop Gets Fired Immediately After Losing Control, exclamation point. It has 2.4 million views. And I want to react to it today. So like I said, I have seen about the first 4 minutes of this video, but I'm going to play it from the beginning so everyone can see it also. I just had the strongest craving for Captain Crunch. Like the berries. Okay, fair warning, y'all. This man does not know how to act. It made me so mad in the 4 minutes of this video that I already did watch. It made my blood pressure go up. So thankfully, we already know, according to the title, the man got fired, but he is about to act so out of control. And does it surprise me coming from Waterbury? No, that's where Chuck Stango, the tyrant, lives. They don't know how to act in Connecticut. They just don't. But thankfully, the guy got fired. So let's watch the video through and see how that all went down. Not legal advice.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who,
Is great audio.
who and what, and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers traffic direction, probable cause arrests, and reckless driving.
I love Audit the Audit. I think other than Sean, it's the channel on YouTube I've learned the most from about the law outside of law school. This is not legal advice, but he kind of gives you the 3 bullet points. Like, what are we going to be talking about? What are they?
It covers traffic direction,
Probable cause arrests, which we like to go over on this channel,
and reckless
driving. Okay. All right. Traffic direction, probable cause arrest, reckless driving.
and is brought to us by the Waterbury Police Department's channel. Be sure
They put it on the channel.
to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On December 13th,
Give them the credit that they deserve.
2022, Officer James Hinkle of the Waterbury Police Department was directing
This happened in December, just a few months ago, 3 months ago or so.
traffic in Waterbury, Connecticut after a mechanical failure by the traffic
Doesn't he look like he'd been knocking down trees his whole life? I think all these people are related. I think they're all like mafia or something.
lights at an intersection. The interaction that followed was captured by the dash cam on Officer Hinkle's cruiser, the footage from which will be shown first, and Officer Hinkle's body camera.
So he's directing traffic. Okay, he just slaps this person's car, starts freaking out. Now, if we were just watching this video straight up, I would stop it and rewind it so y'all could really see. But I do think that Audit the Audit does that, so just stand by. Tyrant tantrum incoming.
Pull over! Pull in the parking lot! We're in this parking lot right now.
I'm so sorry.
Pull over!
Gosh, please don't yell at me.
And this is why I get so upset. Like, it's very obvious immediately that it was an accident. Should this lady have gone through the traffic stop whenever he was trying to make her not go? No, of course not. He could even pull her over. He could even give her a ticket. But the way that he's going about this already is such a huge escalation. And, some people might say, well, he's scared because his life was in risk or his life was in danger, or his life was at risk or something like that. If you cannot keep your cool when your life is at risk, you have absolutely no business being a law enforcement officer, carrying a gun, carrying weapon. You just don't. Could I keep my cool whenever somebody like blows by me and I'm telling them to stop? Probably not. But I've never filled out an application to be a cop. And it's obvious immediately. This lady is sorry. It was an accident. She didn't realize. And you'll see it does continue.
Pull over now!
She has pulled over.
Someone else with you?
No, pull over!
So she's like, I need a supervisor. Like, is there someone else with you? She's scared. I would be scared as well. And they have her, censored out or whatever, but she sounds like a young woman. It sounds like she's afraid that this cop is going to not be able to keep his cool, which I would totally be scared as well of that. And so, here we are, guys screaming, and she's like, is there anyone else with you? Which I think was a reasonable question. No!
I'm not
It's like, you're possessed by demons or something, sir. I don't
repeating
know.
myself. Get out of the roadway and pull over.
I'm not going to repeat myself. Sounds like a threat to me.
Turn the car off. License and registrations now.
And she is sorry. She does seem sorry. Now I'm telling you one thing. Y'all already know how I would be acting. I would you're not gonna holler at me, sir. I'm live on Instagram right now.
Did you not see this bright yellow vest standing in the middle of the street?
No, I did. I thought you were leaving.
No,
before
this
the
means
sign.
stop. This means stop.
I didn't see that until I was already past.
And then you still drove
That means stop.
by me.
I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't.
License.
I cannot even imagine what would be like. My cortisol levels would be through this stop alone would necessitate a liver cleanse. Like the amount of cortisol in my system. A couple people have been like, this girl talks too much, talking about me. She pauses the video too much. Okay, this is a reaction video. It's right there in the title. It's right there on the thumbnail. It's a commentary video. This video is out there without my commentary in it at all whatsoever. It's linked down below. It's linked on Audit the Audit's channel. Audit the Audits. I'll link his below. This video is a commentary video. It's a video that I comment and react to stuff. That's where you are right now. So for those couple few of y'all that got lost, I don't want to hear it in the comments about this girl pauses the video too much. That's the whole point. Welcome to 2023. Welcome to YouTube. That's how it works.
The registration now.
Hold on. Sorry. Give me
He's
a second,
scary.
okay?
No, license and registration now.
Nah. She said, okay, hold on. I'm getting it out. No, now. People can't go faster than they can go, idiot.
Okay.
You almost ran over an officer standing in the middle of the street.
I'm so
She didn't almost run over him. That's not true.
sorry. I didn't realize what was going on. That was very confusing.
It's a bright yellow jacket standing in the middle of the street. What don't you?
Yeah, but bright yellow jacket don't mean stop. You got to actually do the stop motion. But Audit the Audit, thank God he's going to get into it. I'm so glad I have him here for moral support because I'm telling y'all right now, like, I'm having a hard time keeping it together because I'm so like, for me, I have no ability to not like transport myself immediately into that car. Like I'm in the car with the girl right now. It's just like, I cannot stand these open air prison guards. And it's just horrible. He's screaming at her. She's very, she's the one. She's even trying to de-escalate the situation. And no, he won't be having that.
You understand?
All the other cars were going.
No, they weren't. You were the only vehicle coming from that way.
Why is he
You almost ran me over in the middle of
hollering?
the street.
And here's the thing, like maybe his adrenaline is up because he really got scared and stuff like that. But this is now like longer than a minute interaction and he's still screaming at her, thinking because he's in the thin blue line cult, the fraternal order of police, the unions and every other damn thing else are going to protect him. He believes that he's going to get away with this. And that is why he is abusing this woman. I cannot imagine how he must treat his wife.
Officer Hinkle screams at the driver for failing to stop at his
God.
signal, even though the driver explained that she was confused and thought she was free to travel through the intersection. The dashcam footage of the incident shows that while Officer Hinkle did raise his arm towards the driver's vehicle, it does not appear that he complied with traffic direction best practices when attempting to signal to her to stop. According to the basic traffic control procedures for law enforcement officers issued by the Maryland Police Training.
I don't know why he's using the Maryland police manual. I assume he did look for a Connecticut one and it's not available. Maryland's a nearby state and maybe that's why. Maybe it's like pretty similar for all of them. I really don't know why he's using the Maryland one, but
Commission, a common method a patrolman can use to stop traffic involves the officer looking directly at the driver, extending their arm, and pointing their finger at the driver. Then, the procedures suggest that the officer maintain this position and watch the driver until the signal is observed. Once the driver sees the signal, the officer should raise their hand so that their palm is toward the driver and hold this position until the driver stops.
So,
Similarly, a guide on using hand and arm signals to direct.
I mean, if you've been in a car at any like sporting event or anything like that, you're familiar with these cops, like traffic guard cops. Like they put their hands up, stuff like that.
Traffic, published by the Virginia Defense Force, instructs officers.
I don't know why he's using the Virginia Defense Force traffic. I don't know why, John. I don't know why you're using all these different, not Connecticut things, but thank you for putting something in here because at least it gives us some pictures and some standards and procedures how it's supposed to be.
Who are directing
somewhere
traffic from the right to turn left to start by looking to the left and thrusting their left hand towards the traffic, with the hand flat and above the officer's headgear and the palm facing traffic.
Above
the instructions
head.
Also direct the officer to, quote, allow the driver time to react and bring his vehicle to a stop. Finally, the Seattle Police Department manual states that, quote, it is important
now he done traveled across the country to Seattle. I don't know.
That officers position themselves so that their hand signals can be seen from a long distance, and that, quote, officers should use an open hand palm out sign to indicate stop.
So that's important. The officer is supposed to, in Seattle, which is not Connecticut, but the officer is supposed to position himself or herself so that they are able to be seen easily and clearly. And that's not only for like making sure that the traffic is safe, it's also for their own safety. It didn't look like he was doing all that. I'm looking forward to this analysis. This is close to where I stopped watching the video, so I don't know what happens next, really.
In this instance, the dashcam footage shows that Officer Hinkle did not maintain eye contact with the driver.
See, remember that whole, like, you got to have your head, no eye contact. You got to have that hand on the left, the one down by his waist, supposed to be up above his head. He's supposed to be looking at her, and he's supposed to have positioned himself like where she could easily, clearly see him, according to the traffic, guide of those other states.
Driver to ensure she noticed his signal and stopped. In fact, he only quickly glanced in her direction and then turned his head.
Okay, I'm not the best driver. Okay, probably somebody should be driving me around everywhere I go, but that's fine. I get around. I will tell y'all, this right here, what he just did, I would not know what in the hell was going on. I'm trying to think, what would I do? I probably would keep driving. The fact that he looked that way, his hand is down by his side right now. He's looking away from me. He already turned and looked at me, and then he turned back around, and his hand, look at his hand right now. Like from that angle, it looks like it's down. Me personally, I would probably drive through this traffic stop as well, based on what I've seen so far. Let's keep watching.
To face oncoming traffic. Likewise, instead of fully extending his palm in the driver's direction, Officer Hinkle did not.
It is confusing. She said, I was confused, or it was so confusing. And I agree. This is confusing because usually you would see at least like the hand up, like equal with the shoulder, right? Like this type of action, like, something like that. But it's like he has his hand way down. It's confusing. It's not very clear. It's not very clear to me what she should be doing.
Flatten the palm and only
so lazy he can't even damn put his hand up.
Extended it in a claw-like position facing the ground.
He
also only raised his hand to about waist level instead of over his head, where it would be clearly visible.
Out of your car and stand next to the fender.
Sure.
Leave your purse in the car.
Oh God, he's scary.
Where do you work?
I work for a clothing company
You do not have to answer that.
in California.
What do
You do not have to answer that. Where do you work? That has nothing to do with the stop, and you will not be asking me where I work. And if you do, I will not be answering it. I will say, I don't have to answer any of these questions, sir. Here's my license. Here's my registration. Here's my name. Anything else, you're going to have to talk to my lawyer about.
What are you doing here today?
I'm going to Target.
You're going to Target.
Yeah, just do a pickup.
I'm not answering your question, sir. I'm role playing what I would do. Where are you going today? I'm sorry, sir. I'm not going to be discussing my day with you. Sorry, I, didn't know what you were doing with that little hand down by your waist thing. Now you hollering at me. I don't know how you gonna act. Here's the license. Here's the registration. That's all you really need from me. I'm not discussing my day. That's what I would say.
What is such an important factor that me standing in the middle of the street,
Sir,
stopping you, and you try to run me over?
Sir,
I do not think she tried to run you over. In fact, I know for certain that she had tried to run you over. she would have easily been able to do so, and you would be run over right now. And I'm going to try to run you over. And it's the ego, because he's wearing a fluorescent vest and he has a gun on his waist. He thinks he gets to treat people any kind of damn way.
I swear.
And then you looked at me, you waved at me, and then you kept going anyway.
I swear I was not trying to run you over. I thought the cars were going.
I'm telling you to stop.
He's screaming. This man is an abuser. I hope he don't have kids, because I know they hate him.
In the middle of the street, and you wave at me and keep going.
I saw your hand before, and it was too late to see.
There's no reason a public servant should be speaking to someone this way. There's no reason. If she was really doing something on purpose and stuff like that, she's very sorry.
Stop.
No, it wasn't. You were doing 10 miles an hour and you still drove by me.
10 miles an hour. She ain't trying to run you over, sir.
You didn't even attempt to stop your car.
Sir.
You're lucky you're not in handcuffs right this second.
I'm very sorry.
You're lucky you're not in handcuffs right this second, but the tyrants in the thin blue line cult get away with everything.
Sorry, sir. I really.
Explain to my kids why they don't have
Explain to your kids why you're abusing a woman out in the middle of the street.
a dad a week before Christmas because you're trying to run somebody over.
Officer Hinkle repeatedly claims that
I hate this man. My heart is pounding right now.
the driver was trying to hit him, even though the dash cam footage from his cruiser shows him lunging toward her vehicle as she drove by, and tells her she's lucky she's not in handcuffs.
I hate
We will
him.
discuss the offenses that Officer Hinkle asserts that the driver actually committed later in this episode, but for
Thank God.
now, it should be noted that striking an officer who was directing traffic is a distinct violation under Connecticut law. According to Section 14-223A of the Connecticut General Statutes, quote, any operator of a motor vehicle who strikes any officer with such motor vehicle while such officer is engaged in traffic control or regulation, provided such officer is in uniform or prominently displaying the badge of his office, shall be fined not less than $150 or more than $200, and for a subsequent offense shall be fined not more than $250 or imprisoned not more than 30 days or both. As we have discussed before here on ATA, it is well established that officers can arrest individuals for minor offenses committed in their presence without violating the Constitution, as long as they have probable cause that the individual violated the law. The Supreme Court held in the 2001 case of Atwater versus City of Lago Vista that the Fourth Amendment does not forbid an officer from making a warrantless arrest for minor misdemeanor offenses, even if the offense is not punishable by imprisonment and is only punishable by a fine. Rather, the court concluded that, quote, if an officer has probable cause to believe that an individual has committed even a very minor criminal offense in his presence, he may, without violating the Fourth Amendment, arrest the offender. Therefore, a court would likely hold that Officer Hinkle was within his constitutional authority to arrest the driver if it is believed he had probable cause that she had committed an offense.
Sir, I promise.
You see the bright lights flashing in the middle of the street? That means use caution. There's a
He's an abuser.
cop out there. I got kids at home and you almost ran me over a week before Christmas.
I feel very bad for the kids at home because I know that he talks to them like this, and he probably uses physical force against them in ways that they're never going to recover from.
Sir, when I see flashing yellow light.
It's not flashing, it's red and blue. That's a
Why
cop
is he
car standing in the middle of the
screaming?
street
I hate
flashing
him.
lights. No, it's not an accident. You're just being irresponsible.
That's the same thing as an accident, you dumb fuck.
Street. And then waves at me and still tries to drive by me. Run her, please, and make sure she's valid.
This man is possessed by Satan. There's no other explanation for this.
A week before Christmas, I almost get ran over.
Alright?
Yeah. I got 2 kids at home waiting for me to come home tonight.
Sir, I'm very sorry. I thought.
Sorry doesn't break it. You looked right at me and still decided to drive by me.
Honestly, that shows that she really did believe she was allowed to. It would be one thing if it's like you didn't even look up from your cell phone. You didn't even look up from what you were doing. You were distracted. You didn't even notice me. He said you looked straight at me and you still kept driving. Y'all, I had to start looking up the officer getting fired. When did they do this? February 23rd, 2023. Oh, man, I can't be watching these. This man is such a tyrant. Oh, my God. Like, honestly, we watch a lot of tyrants on this channel, but my God. We're learning more about the firing of Waterbury police officer related to his behavior during a traffic stop. Internal investigation determined he was not only in the wrong for his behavior, but it was a big reason for his dismissal. He initiated a traffic stop on foot after a car drove through an intersection while he was directing traffic that led to a heated exchange captured body camera. The interaction resulted in an internal investigation. after a supervising officer made a complaint. They determined that his behavior was willful and reckless, and his conduct was unbecoming of an officer. He's an abuser. He's an abuser. He provided conflicting information about a hand injury. He said he was struck by the vehicle's mirror, but the dash cam footage obviously shows him running up to the car and hitting it. And they lie, and they lie. And honestly, I believe if Waterbury didn't know for certain that this was going to be a viral video, they wouldn't have fired him. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sure Audit the Audit covers all this, but I had to calm myself down because at the time of making this video, I'm in this room alone. And these, like I told y'all, it makes me so upset. I just put myself in this woman's position, and it's like, you can't even make an honest mistake. She was nowhere near him. He ran across the street to go slap her vehicle and then acted like his hand was hurt. What a lying.
No, you weren't. I was in the middle of the intersection.
You hurt?
Emotionally.
No one hurt. Oh my God. Are you hurt? Emotionally. That's clear. That is clear.
Would you mind filling this out for me? My hands are a little shaky right now.
He's an abuser. This man has no business holding a gun. He never should have been on this police force.
Failing to obey a signal of the officer. Reckless driving.
He can't even fill out his own report. He can't. Reckless drive.
Officer Hinkle asks one of the other officers to fill out a citation for failure to obey an officer's commands and reckless driving. Under Section 14-223 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which defines the offense of failing to stop when signaled or disobeying the direction of an officer, quote, whenever the operator of any motor vehicle fails promptly to bring his motor vehicle to a full stop upon the signal of any officer in uniform or prominently displaying the badge of his office, or disobeys the direction of such officer with relation to the operation of his motor vehicle, he shall be deemed to have committed an infraction. Additionally, Section 14-222 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which describes the offense of reckless driving, states that, quote, no person shall operate any motor vehicle upon any public highway of the state recklessly, having regard to the width, traffic, and use of such highway, road, school property, or parking area.
She wasn't operating that vehicle recklessly. She wasn't. That's just not true. More lies from this abusive tyrant.
The intersection of streets, and the weather conditions. While there is no definition of recklessly found in Title 14 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which contains the state's motor vehicle laws, including the offense of reckless driving, Section 53A-3 of the General Statutes includes a definition for offenses under the Connecticut Penal Code, which is codified in Title 53A of the General Statutes. Section 53A-3 states that, quote, a person acts recklessly with respect to a result or to a circumstance described by a statute defining an offense when he is aware of and consciously disregards a substantial and unjustifiable risk that such result.
She would have to have been aware of it, and she clearly wasn't. She's very shaken up here. So this is a mens rea requirement, aware of, and then disregards. Aware of, and then consciously disregards substantial and unjustifiable risk. I mean, the aware of isn't there, so there's no way she could have consciously disregarded it. I can't get inside her mind, but judging based on her behaviors, I definitely don't think that she did any of that on purpose. If he had been doing the correct signals in the first place, this would probably not have happened. It was very confusing. And then there was no substantial and unjustifiable risk. There just wasn't. There just wasn't. She was confused. I do think she probably should have ascertained whether she could go or not, but she was going very slow. He even said it. Hinkle even said it himself. He said, you were going 10 miles an hour. So in my opinion, it just don't cut the mustard.
Will occur or that such circumstance exists. The risk must be of such nature and degree.
This got me so worked up at 7:20 a.m. I did not expect to get this worked up. It's like, you would think I would be desensitized to how they act at this point, but it's like, oh my God, thank God I can do these reactions and then like put it on the internet and then other people share in the same sentiments, because if I had to just sit here and watch this alone, I don't know how y'all do it.
That disregarding it constitutes a gross deviation from the standard of conduct that a reasonable person would observe in the situation. As the Hartford County Court of Common Pleas in Connecticut explained in the 1974 case of Maloney versus Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, quote, recklessness requires a conscious choice of a course of action, either with knowledge of the serious danger to others involved in it, or with...
Exactly. It's this mens rea requirement. You have to have known about the risk, and he's writing her a ticket for it. So now they're going to have to pay some freaking prosecutor prosecutor to charge this case. I wonder if they actually went through with charges or if they just dropped it.
Knowledge of facts which would disclose such danger to any reasonable man. Recklessness is more than
Reasonable man? Well, she's not a man.
negligence, and more than even
During like the first weeks of law school, they're like, stuff's going to say man. It means all genders. Everybody relax.
gross negligence. Similarly, in the 1999 case of State versus Sandra O, the appellate court of Connecticut clarified that, quote, it is reckless indifference to the safety of others which supplies the criminal intent necessary to warrant conviction, while speed.
Okay, so the criminal intent necessary for a conviction is the following: reckless indifference to the safety of others. Okay, so I don't think that's here. That just doesn't apply. Speed alone may be insufficient to warrant a conviction for reckless driving. What I'm assuming he's about to say is that it can be.
Alone may be insufficient to warrant a conviction for reckless
It's a factor.
driving. It may be taken into consideration in
And he already said she was going 10 miles an hour.
conjunction with other circumstances to show a reckless disregard of consequences. Here, while the driver may have failed to stop when signaled, although it is certainly questionable whether Officer Hinkle's hand signals were sufficient to communicate in order to stop, it is unlikely that she could be found guilty of reckless driving for simply misunderstanding the situation, because
And let's say she was guilty. Let's just say she was guilty of reckless driving. His behavior is still so far out of bounds. It's time served as far as I'm concerned.
she would not have the reckless mental state that is necessary to sustain a conviction.
I mean, if he has his lights on, it means something's on. You gotta get
This poor girl. I would need therapy or something.
See, this is why I was trying to direct traffic,
Look at him. Look at him. Now he's all calmed down now that his other fellow cult member showed up.
because it's. I was out here for 30 minutes
I
doing
heard
traffic.
you. Could you get so? Yeah.
30 minutes doing traffic and almost got ran over once.
Sound like he just don't want to work.
Everybody else, no problem. No problem.
Everybody else, no problem. Maybe you the problem then. If everybody else been out there conducting traffic and had no problems, and you're the only one that had a problem, maybe that's your first sign, sir.
Anytime you see flashing red and blue lights in the middle of the street, it means there's cops present.
What should I say?
No, stop talking. Stop talking. And it means you need to pay attention because there's going to be police officers out and about, okay?
This tone right here is still way too much, like 15 minutes into this interaction. But if this had been his tone at first, I would have been a lot more forgiving, because it's like maybe his adrenaline was going. Maybe he really thought, he was going to get run over, which he didn't. The reason he's so mad is simply because of his ego. He was not in any danger, clearly. Should she have stopped? Yes. If she was supposed to stop, she should have stopped. Should he have written her a ticket even? Yeah. I mean, sure. But like Audit the Audit said, it's questionable whether she should have stopped at all. It's questionable whether his commands were even sufficient. It was very confusing just from anecdotally, like looking at it. I would have probably been confused too. But the fact that he's still abusing her, screaming at her on the side of the street, all I can do is just think about this man's wife and children. All I can do is think about what he must put them through and what irreparable damage he must be inflicting on the people that live in a house with him. Because there's no possible way, in my personal opinion, that he doesn't treat everyone he believes subordinate to him in this exact same way, and worse. He probably puts his hands on him. He couldn't even write the ticket. That shows me he couldn't even write the ticket. His hands were shaking too much. That shows me he has absolutely no control over his emotions and even his bodily actions whenever he is in this heightened adrenal state. And there's nothing that warranted that. There isn't. It was his ego. He was mad that the lady didn't bow down to his yellow jacket and his flashy lights. And I am so glad this man got fired. Nobody better hire him to carry a gun around. He shouldn't even be a security guard.
This bright yellow vest, it's very, very bright. It's neon yellow because it stands out, okay? I'm standing in the middle of the street telling you to stop.
Ew.
That means stop. I'm not waving hi, Merry Christmas. This means
Y'all, follow me on Instagram, because if this ever happens to me, I'm going live on Instagram and I'm telling y'all where I am and I'm saying, please, I'm in danger. Please, everybody show up. Come and help me. This tyrant is abusing me on the side of the street. I would be live on Instagram. Every single word that he would be saying will be up close in HD.
stop. Listen, when you see me do this and try to get your attention and stop.
That's not what you did. You didn't do this. You did this. You didn't do this.
You again, it doesn't mean wave back to me and keep driving by me. Stop,
All
stop.
of this. I'm sorry.
Then what were you doing in your
I was
vehicle?
paying attention to the cars in front of me.
There were no cars in front of you. There were 0 cars in front of you. You were the only
He's still hollering.
vehicle traveling on that road for 5 to 100 feet. There were no vehicles in front of you. No, there wasn't.
Okay.
Just write the ticket. Just write the ticket. Let her go.
Okay.
She almost
Okay.
ran me over.
She tried to run me over. I wouldn't even believe that. Like, if I was this officer, the second officer that just showed up on the scene and I saw her crying and saying, "I'm so sorry, I didn't know, I was confused," I wouldn't even believe this man she tried to run me over. It's clear that it was an accident. People can get tickets for accidents. I'm not saying she shouldn't get a ticket. I am questioning whether she should have. But the man wasn't clear in what he was doing. And then once she went 10 miles an hour, feet and feet, it was a whole traffic lane away from him. He ran across the traffic lane to slap her vehicle. And then he's going to start saying she tried to run him over. He's lying. He's
You
lying.
need to calm yourself.
Tell him.
The driver was issued a citation and allowed to leave the scene, and the charges were later dropped. This incident sparked an internal affairs investigation into Officer Hinkle's conduct, and he was immediately placed on paid administrative leave. On January
So he got a paid vacation.
9th, 2023, Officer Hinkle was terminated from the Waterbury Police Department after the investigation
Y'all know who used to work at the Waterbury Police Department? Just fun fact. Patrick Rittenauer, the current chief at Danbury Police Department.
determined that his conduct, actions, and behaviors were in violation of department policies. In an official statement on the termination, Chief Fernando Spagnolo noted that, quote, his conduct during this encounter with a citizen of the community is unacceptable and not representative of the men and women serving the Waterbury Police Department.
Oh my God. Thank God at least they did something for freaking once.
WPD officers are trained to demonstrate the highest level of professionalism when performing their duties. In an interview, Chief Spagnolo also stated that, quote, as far as we are concerned, that is not behavior we condone. Our officers are not trained to act that way.
I'm literally so worked up right now. I could cry. Thank God he's not going to be able to do this to anybody else. But the fact that that was allowed to happen, and the fact that it does happen, and the fact that without social media, he probably never would have been fired from that department. I'm so glad he's fired.
We will not tolerate that type of actions or behavior toward the public from our police officers.
Thank God.
Chief Spagnolo also reached out to the driver in this altercation and explained in an interview that, quote, she's been very amicable to us. She's come to the police station and been in my office and told me she recognizes that almost everyone at the Waterbury Police has treated her with respect.
So they're running PR, they're doing propaganda, but like that's whatever. Honestly, I can't even be that mad about it. I'm so glad the guy got fired.
Overall, Officer Hinkle gets an F for using unclear hand signals when directing traffic and then flying into a rage when a citizen misunderstood the meaning of those signals and screaming at a citizen and directing profanity toward her. Officer Hinkle's response not only demonstrated a tremendous amount of anger and a total lack of professionalism, but it also revealed the type of so-called victim mentality that can be dangerous when left unchecked in a police department. Instead of
Tried to run me over. Watch him run across the street.
seeing this incident as the honest mistake it truly appeared to be, Officer Hinkle took the driver's actions personally,
Yep.
accusing
Yep. Yes. Oh my God. Thank you for this analysis.
her of attempting to kill him right before Christmas, when in reality, her vehicle actually came nowhere close to hitting him. These over-dramatic statements, as well as his unprofessional behavior, suggest that Officer Hinkle does not have the steadfast temperament that's necessary to be an effective police officer. And I commend Chief Spagnolo and the Waterbury Police Department for quickly taking action and terminating him. The driver gets an A for maintaining her composure throughout the encounter, despite
Let me tell you one thing, John Lang. If this was me, I wouldn't be getting an A.
Officer Hinkle's immensely unprofessional behavior and attempting to take responsibility for her actions, even though it is questionable whether the miscommunication was actually her fault. While it is possible that she was not paying enough attention to the road to notice Officer Hinkle, there is no way I can assess this based on the available footage. The driver claimed that she was confused about what she was supposed to do, and this seems reasonable given the fact that oncoming traffic was driving through the intersection, and
I definitely believe her. She was confused. I'm confused. I don't know what this means. What's that?
Considering the lack of clarity in Officer Hinkle's hand signals and the lack of attention he gave to ensuring she understood his commands and stopped her vehicle. Once the driver realized her mistake, she immediately pulled over and apologized profusely for the error, and remained respectful and relatively calm when faced with screaming
I couldn't have done it. I would have been live on Instagram.
and profanity from Officer Hinkle, and I applaud her for refusing to escalate
Good for her.
the situation by mirroring
If I'm ever in a situation, he ain't gonna applaud me.
Officer Hinkle's inappropriate behavior. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.
One of my goals in life is to reach the point where tyrannical and abusive behavior and witnessing it does not affect me this much, but I'm not there yet. It is just so infuriating, upsetting, maddening. Oh, my phone thought I was talking to her. Infuriating, upsetting, maddening, all that this even happened. And the thing is, like Audit the Audit said, the lady went out of her way to de-escalate the situation where she had to manage this officer's emotions. It didn't work well. Thank God the other guy on the scene was like, you need to calm yourself. Thank God they fired this man. I do think that they only fired him because they knew it was going to be viral if they didn't. I definitely think that's why they did it. I don't really care. At this point, it's immaterial to me why they did it. And if I'm right about that, if that speculation is correct, that means that channels like Audit the Audit, like Long Island Audit, even maybe this one, hopefully, are making a difference. Because I don't think that in the good old boys, thin blue line cult, even a few years ago, the man would have been fired immediately like that. He would have been on paid administrative leave for however long. What keeps coming back to my mind is that I don't think that Sean Reyes had a good experience in Waterbury. And I do think that they did try to pursue charges against him for something. Just a vague memory. Maybe I am confusing Waterbury with Danbury. I know a lot of y'all watch Sean's channel. Comment below what happened in Waterbury. I can also go look it up. This video is already getting a little bit longer than I want it to be. I probably wouldn't give the driver a full-on A, or I would give her an A, maybe not A+. One thing that I saw that she did that I don't think she should have done was giving all this information. Like, I'm going to Target. I work for a company in California, continuously saying like what she thought, what she was doing, stuff like that. If I'm approached by an officer that clearly has absolutely no handle and no check on his emotions to the extent that he's abusing me publicly in the street, I will not be cooperating with his attempted investigation. I will be giving him my license, my registration, and I will be saying, I'm not going to be discussing my date with you. You clearly don't know how to act. You need to de-escalate. You are screaming. It's frankly freaking me out. I'm scared for my safety, and I would appreciate if you would call in a supervisor. If you feel like you need to write a ticket, write it up, but I'm not discussing my day with you. And all of this would be on Instagram Live. I'll be live while I was doing it for sure. And I would be saying, to 300 people watching you right now, sir. So say what you need to say to them. But all that being said, I have got to give this girl credit for being able to keep her cool at all. And when you are in situations like that, like I would literally be afraid for my life if I was her, because the man has a gun and he has no control over his emotions. And again, as I'm sitting here today, 4 months after this whole incident happened, all I can do is feel so bad for his kids. And I honestly, I don't know, CPS might need to go make a stop, because if he's treating people that he works for like that, there's no way, in my opinion, he's not doing that to his kids and his wife. There's just no way. If you're married to Hinkle and you need help, my email address is linked below, girl, because I already know, in my opinion, what's going on. Whew. Anyway, wow. Got my cortisol levels all up at 7:37 a.m., but that's all I really had for today. I'll link the videos below, relevant videos, so y'all can go watch them if you, for some reason, want to experience that whole thing again. And yeah, in the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.